Good evening, demons. How's everybody doing today? Had a great wordplay about Millicent and all that at work today, but I forgot. Good. Millie doesn't need name games. Just waiting for the game to boot up. It's always runs smooth when it's going, but all I've found it. Maybe it's just because I've got like everything else running. It feels like it takes a while to load up, and then also for OBS to actually, clock in what's going on. I don't know how I survived the last week. I'm gonna be real. I don't know how I got through the last week after that fucking ending to Act 2 that we saw last time. Actually crazy. Hang on, let me just make sure. Okay, good. Just want to make sure the audio is still good. It was a little bonkers. It was heartbreaking. And I just want to jump back into it. They left like early the next morning. Millie is now crashing at Olive's place. They both admitted their feelings. Oh, so much is gonna happen. I can't wait. Okay. When we told Mike we were leaving early, he didn't question it or protest. I wonder if Millie would have felt better if he did. The fine line between wanting your space and hoping your loved ones reach out for you is delicate. It's one Millie has struggled to walk for a long, long time. My apartment is scarce. The heating is faulty at the best of times. It's loud during the night with the roads below ever active. But it's all I can offer her, and the best she's got. Shivering from the cold morning air, I open the door to our home. Our home. They brought Mr. Mo! Ah! I'm so happy. She's like, nuh-uh. I'm bringing my cat. The small welcome is enough to make me jump and instinctively hide my free hand poorly behind my back. Before her luggage she had originally taken from the trip and any of her own personal items she wanted to bring from her house, she had asked about Mr. Mo. My apartment allows small pets, and that was all she needed to hear before retrieving his carrier. Yeah, no, girl's had it rough. She needs her kitty. Fat little bowling ball. That being said, I'm not sure if the word small best describes him, his friendly headbutt managing to push me back a step. Oh, little guy. She's all eepy. Another sound of an opening door, followed by the dragging of feet. Within seconds, Millie emerges from the hallway. She wipes some sleep from her eye, woken up by the commotion.
Good morning. You were out early.
Yeah. I was hoping to get back before you woke up.
Foiled by Mo.
Seems so.
No, little bowling ball. Thanks for the commentary. She meets my drooping expression with a giggle.
If it's any consolation, I'd much rather still be sleeping. I take no joy in your defeat.
Oh, hang on, I need to move a little bit more. There we go. She punctuates her declaration with a very loud, very long yawn. That was not intentional. When her hand comes down from her mouth and her eyes open, I notice them slowly drag downwards, setting on a modest bouquet hidden hastily behind my back. Oh, they went and got her flowers! My eyes follow hers, choosing to stare at the bundle of flowers rather than dare make eye contact as I stammer the words out.
I figured, well, if we're gonna do this for real, we should get our story straight.
I don't think there's anything straight about this, Olive. Flowers. I've been rehearsing this in my head since the idea came to me yesterday afternoon, and I still can't believe I'm going through with it.
So,
With a deep breath, I pull my arm out from behind me and shove it directly into my front as fast as I'm able. It's not an extravagant arrangement, but I tried my best to pick out something she'd like given what was available. I still can't bring myself to meet her eyes, choosing instead to train my gaze to the floor as I deliver my ramblings.
I think I love you, Millie. I don't want things to end after a semester together. Would you like to go out sometime?
Even their ears are red. Ah! This is so fucking cute. I'm dying. I keep my eyes firmly trained anywhere but her as I wait for her response. I don't know what I'm expecting. We had decided to make things legitimate out on the bridge and confirmed things the morning after. But I still find my heart beating out of my chest regardless. I wait for an answer, but nothing ever comes. Did she not get what I'm trying to do? Am I just being dumb? Wouldn't be the first time, I guess. Ugh, how was I smoother in a fake relationship than... My mind goes blank as her hand envelops mine. Oh, and Millie's blushing too. What if she was too drunk to remember? No, Olive just said they confirmed it in the morning. My eyes finally shoot up and meet hers again. I'm met with a heavy blush, mirroring mine, I'm sure, and a large, warm smile that I feel like I haven't seen from her in forever.
I'd love to.
Yay! I don't have a response past loosening my grip on the poor flowers, relinquishing them to their new owner. After they're out of my hands, I do notice small imperfections from afar. A slight wilt on a single petal, an unpleasant trim where a flower meets its stem. Nevertheless, Millie gazes to them fondly, slowly admiring them.
Guess that's that then.
What can I say? You won me over.
Even as she speaks, she never looks up to my face directly, still enamored by her gift.
That story of yours was something else, you know. That last chapter was a real tearjerker.
She cradles the bouquet in her arm, allowing her to easily remove a lone flower, a faded pink rose. With all of the care and tenderness that I lacked when shoving the flowers in her face, she gently presents it to me.
I'm really looking forward to see where you take it next.
I take the flower from her, our eyes finally meeting after a morning of active avoidance.
I'm not much of a writer, but I'll try not to disappoint.
Aww. My writing class is over. Done. With any luck, I'll never have to step inside that room again. Even after my passing grade, I still never felt confident in my ability to put words to paper. Not really. For the first time, though, I find myself excited to start on this story. How could I not be with a co-author like her? The last rays of sunlight are just barely peeking in from the window. Cold writing club room struggling to warm up again after the winter break. After moving out and finally getting some space to breathe from all the pressure in her life, I thought the last thing Millie would want to do would be to start up the writing club again. So is all her stuff at Olive's place now? I mean, Olive kept it pretty sparse before, so it's not like they don't have the room for it. Yet here we are, sticking to the same schedule she made before the break started. She sent out a message yesterday to the group to mixed reception. Heather was the first to reply, sending out a sarcastic, "Yay." Darren never responded, and Tanya sent in almost too many happy face emotes. Darren is just a giant ball of anxiety. I feel so bad for him.
New year, new club, huh?
I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
I meant it to sound optimistic, but nothing about Millie's smile seems hopeful.
Hey, come on. Don't disappear into your head. It'll be fine. Millie?
Sorry, I know you're trying to help. I don't want to get my hopes up. Not that I'm trying to be all doom and gloom, but I'm a little tired of trying to make it perfect just in case it'll resonate this time. Whatever will happen, will happen.
She's got a better handle on things now, it looks like.
I'm just going to enjoy it. That'll have to be enough.
Millie gives me a reassuring look. No fake smile or measured body language in sight. She takes a sip of coffee and gets back to tidying up the room. I can't think of a single thing that could be fun about leading this writing club. On the other hand, there must be something besides pride keeping Millie here. I mull it over a bit, deciding not to press. Whatever it is, I'll find out soon enough.
Thank you 3 for making it. I know it's been a while, so how about we start with a simple warm-up exercise?
Why is Heather here? Why does she still show?
Ugh. I barely even like stretching. Can't we do one of those word games?
I figured Tanya would have been a bit more active than that.
Yeah, Millie, I think this club is at its best when you act like a preschool teacher. How about we practice phonetics?
Do you ever shut your...
Oh, she shuts her mouth a lot. She just doesn't say anything.
Cut it out or leave. We're not doing this today.
Millie closes the book she was reading from, giving both Tanya and Heather a firm glare. Tanya sighs and mutters an apology, shifting to sit into a slightly more attentive posture. Heather scoffs loudly. Oh.
Leave? And what? You'll stand here talking to an empty room?
I just want one meeting where we can try to be adults who share a common love for the craft.
Ah, my heart's bleeding. Really?
I'm gonna give her a swirly. In an unflushed toilet.
I'm not fighting with you, Heather.
We can just move on to that exercise.
Oh, you're still here. Failing another class?
Eat shit.
Okay, Heather, you can...
Leave? Again with that? Then what? You'll kick out Tanya for not respecting the art enough? You're acting real high and mighty today. Darren's already bailed. You don't have anyone left to try and impress.
She says his name with extra vitriol. Something about Darren not being here seemed to have sparked an additional ire in Heather, as she harshly tilts her head to the empty seat in the room. First thing I see joining stream is Heather's face taking space on the stream. Most disappointing. I know, and she's being a huge bitch right now, like more than normal. Still, she stands and takes the pen out of Millie's hands with one motion. With a flourish, she writes her name on the club attendance sheet on the podium. Heather slams the door behind her on the way out, leaving Millie, Tanya, and I in a wake of tense silence. The rest of the club went by a little bit smoother, but Tanya was obviously out of it. Millie sprung back surprisingly quickly after Heather's exit, shifting into a couple short writing exercises before doing a group prompt. And the three of us took turns developing a story one paragraph at a time. Mostly. Millie wrote her paragraphs, and while I struggled to do a few lines, Tanya basically gave up after one sentence. Right at the end of the session, Darren texted in several times, apologizing for missing the meeting after a nap gone wrong. Oh boy, have I been there. On her way out, Tanya invited Millie and I out to a bar. Millie declined, so here we are instead, at my apartment. Home. Mr. Mo!
That's what I said! Can you even believe it?
Aiming to finish the Millie route tonight? Yup. Hopefully we can get the epilogue done too. No. Mr. Mo purrs pleasantly, sprawling out into Millie's lap and pushing his head into her hand with every pet. Oh, little... Okay, not little guy. He's a big fucking bowling ball and I love him.
That was...
Bad. Yeah.
She shrugs.
Are you doing okay?
She thinks over the question in her head a few times, and she rests her head against mine, nuzzling slightly. Her hair is soft and fluffy, smelling of coconut shampoo.
Yeah, actually. I am. It's good to be home.
Ooh. Her voice melts there as Mr. Mo gives a big yawn and stretches so wide he ends up halfway on her lap and mine. Big bowling ball. When we left the writing club, she didn't bother writing down a date for the next meeting. First. Instead, we spoke about other things. What to do for lunch, how I'll need to buy paper towels, even just the weather. I settled in closer to Millie and run my hand over Mr. Mo's back, shedding his white fur all over the couch. Yeah.
Thanks, by the way.
For what?
For bringing the coffee. And even if the meeting itself wasn't great, I still...
She pauses and shakes her head.
I just mean thank you for always doing your best alongside me, too.
If we weren't dating, I'd probably be able to come up with a better response. To improvise whatever would make a good story, to give a reply to further our arcs. I'm not actually good at any of that. The thought of sharing how happy she makes me, how she gave me the strength, how comfortable this all is sitting together, melds together into a tangled mess of new emotions that I don't have words for yet.
I love you, Millie.
Gay.
I love you too, Olive.
A day of classes comes and goes. I'm still trying to get back into the swing of things, the winter break lingering on my mind, but college is slowly starting to feel normal again. If only that were entirely good news. The sense of normalcy is returning, sure, but that's due in no small part to the writing club continuing to barely hang on by a thread. I'm not sure why I was expecting some sort of miracle in attendance to pick back up. those hopes were quickly dashed regardless. After what she went through over the holidays, she really needed just one day where the club came together. I knew she wouldn't get it, but I don't know. Millie's still offering to drive me to and from campus, so I'm glad we get to spend that time together at the very least. But I know it isn't the same to her. Just as I'm thinking about how I'm going to kill time until she's out of her last class, the answer taps me on the shoulder.
Hey, you busy?
Oh my god, he's alive. I want to ask how he found me, but with how much time I spent pacing back and forth through the halls, sorting through my thoughts, I guess it'd be inevitable if he had been looking long enough.
Not really. What's up?
I just wanted to poke your brain about the club for a bit.
His timing couldn't be any better. Or worse, depending on where this is going.
Oh?
Yeah. So...
His natural shyness is one thing, but the hesitation here feels different from the usual. Enough to put me on edge, at least.
It's not gonna last, huh?
I don't even know how to answer that. The easy answer is no, but I can't bring myself to admit it. Not yet.
What makes you say that?
Just, you know, the lack of attendance. That's partially my fault. And also some of the others in general.
You can just say Heather.
That bitch.
Yeah.
He scratches the back of his neck in some mix of resignation and hopelessness.
You want to help salvage it, right? Did you have any ideas?
That's not quite the direction I was expecting.
Why do you ask?
I don't know. I mean, you helped drag me in there, and I've enjoyed talking to Millie. I'm not sure if you see it the same way, but I, consider both of you friends.
He's such a dweeb. Of course we're friends, dumbass. I have literally said that to people before. They're just like, oh, I thought maybe we were, friends. And I'm just like, of course we're friends, you dumbass. Like, come on. He struggles to get the words out, but the sincerity of it all is enough to get a smile out of me. I wish Millie was around to hear it.
Well, I appreciate it. And I'm sure she would too.
With the offer open, I'd be a fool to not at least discuss it. I lean myself against the wall, trying to put my thoughts in order.
I've been thinking about it a lot. You can probably imagine.
Yeah, I bet.
And I've got nothing to show for it.
Oh.
I like how they both have the same glasses frames. His sigh is immediate. I say I don't know what to do, but there is one small thread I haven't pulled at yet. Just afraid to see what happens after the initial tug.
I have someone we could ask, though. Maybe.
Are they gonna ask Haley or Caprice? As expected, the door is unlocked. It's dead silent on the other side too, so it's definitely not because of an ongoing lesson. If I had a quarter every time I used an insult affectionately, I could commission Twofold art. Same! I hesitate before committing to turning the handle the rest of the way. I could be making things infinitely worse by trying this.
Olive?
It's fine. Sorry.
Determined not to spook Darren any more than I have to, I take a breath and turn the handle. It is Caprice. Speaking of, is it today? yesterday was Caprice's birthday, IRL. So she was born February 4th. The room's almost entirely empty, but it looks like the beginnings of a club meeting are scattered all around the desks. The only occupant is near the back, scrolling through her phone with a frustrated look on her face. Well, that's a good start. At the very least, she stops what she's doing and makes her way over to us, so the fear of just being ignored outright is gone.
Do I even want to ask?
Oh.
Nothing bad, I promise. Millie doesn't even know we're here.
Oh, wait, I recognize you. From that meeting last semester.
I see my reputation precedes me.
It was kind of an event. Her dry delivery almost gets a laugh out of me. It's not the chipper Caprice I recognize from our first art class together, but she's not the hostile one I was bracing for either.
Darren Baker.
Caprice Shifton. Nice to meet ya.
The two shake hands, and when Caprice returns to her normal standing position, she seems a bit more relaxed. If nothing else, Darren's helped break the ice perfectly.
So what's up?
Well, has Millie talked about the state of the club at all? Like, honestly?
I know it's limping along. Why?
Well, I was barely doing that anymore.
Uh-huh.
So, I was wondering if you had any ideas on how to help. Since your club is managing fine, I mean.
Caprice closes her eyes and tilts her head to the side a bit, as if trying to shake a thought out.
We're fighting, you know. I'm the last person you should be asking about this stuff.
Which is why you should know how bad it is, seeing as how we're here.
An inhale, a few seconds, an exhale. Her head rights itself and her eyes open.
Back when the art club started, it was just Allison, Eileen, and I.
Right.
Ours isn't really officially recognized by the campus, so I'm not sure if it's any different, but I think your numbers are probably fine, even if it's just barely.
I've never seen her so serious before. No mincing words, no drastic shifts in volume, just her.
So why doesn't it feel that way, do you think?
Heather. And also Tanya just kind of being there to goof off.
At the end of the day, a club's just a group of people who share an interest and like being around each other. The first thing isn't even as important as the second. Millie has enough people to stay afloat, but they hate each other. It can't work like that.
And if we just made it so it was Millie, Olive, and I, it'd be a one-man show in a semester's time.
That's not an option, it's just a delayed death. Everything Caprice has said makes sense, but it really just makes things feel even more hopeless than before.
Olive,
Yeah?
don't repeat what I'm about to say. If you do, I'll know.
Yes, ma'am.
Giving me a quick scan, she must find something in my posture to earn her trust as she begins to speak.
Okay, I know how much the club means to her. I can't stand being in the same room as her right now, but I wouldn't ever try to take that away from her. If there's anything I could offer that help, I'd do it. Consider it a standing offer even. But as is right now, I'm sorry. If anything comes to mind, I'll let you know, promise.
Aww.
I know. Thanks. Your secret's safe with me.
Millie's lucky to have both of you.
Hey, same thing to you. Not a word.
Caprice is not someone I would want to get in the bad side of. Imagine her putting all of that incredible energy towards anger and vengeance. That would be horrifying.
Yes. Okay.
There's the Caprice I know. Her sudden shift in volume causing Darren to jump. Even when I know to expect it from her, she manages to shock me too. Good thing Caprice is a good person. Yeah, just a bit of a space case at times.
Good luck, you two. I mean it.
We nod and exchange our goodbyes, Caprice leaving us with a soft smile as we close the door behind us. The club is doomed. Things will get worse before they get better. But hopefully at the end of all this, Millie will still have Caprice. Oh. I think naturally happy people have the most extreme mood shifts when provoked. Yeah. Mr. Mo! I love this fucking lump. Look at him! He's perfect. Okay, he's not perfect. He's extremely overweight. But, like, I love him. He's so friend-shaped.
Didn't you already eat?
Don't believe his lies. If he tricks you even once, it'll be months before you get any peace.
Don't believe his lies. Mr. Mo stares up at me, his eyes. Oh, the face! Oh, the face! He's an adorable little bastard. Mr. Mo stares up at me, his eyes wide as saucers. He stretches out his body long enough to knead at my socks before rolling over on his stomach.
You look so hungry, though.
Because he's a greedy fuck.
He ate.
I'm wasting away.
You're doing voices for him?
Oh, I love Mr. Mo so much. I really need a cat, guys.
I just need a little extra wet food to make it through the night.
Olive.
Sorry, buddy. Looks like she's willing to let you starve.
Doctor's orders, Mo.
Ooh. She jingles a small toy in his direction, a red shrimp filled with catnip and a bell tied around its tail. Hits the ground with a feeble chime. Oh, it's a matter of convincing my dad. My mom and I are both like, we want a cat. My dad's like, no. Mr. Mo stares at the toy for a solid minute before making a slow, pathetic leap at it, his attempt at swindling a second dinner forgotten.
You can't be such a pushover with him. That's why he's, medically speaking, rotund.
Rotund. He's rotund. Hey, Justerfly, how are you? I'm crying. Mr. Mo makes me so happy.
I won't go against his diet plan. Don't worry. I will feel extremely bad about it, though.
Millie gives a resigned sigh.
Me too. But as his parents, we have to be strong.
I'll try.
Mr. Mo completes his hunt successfully, laying on top of his toy and purring loudly in the corner of the room.
As his parents, huh?
I look at the loaf fast asleep, his paws completely hidden underneath his blanket of fur. Millie shifts next to me, adjusting her braid and laughing, color reaching her face.
Sorry, was that weird to say? I just meant since we're both taking care of him and
No, it was cute.
living together and dating.
Oh.
Uh,
Her face lights up with red, and she flexes her fingers slightly as she mutters under her breath, counting
We've jumped ahead a lot of steps before we've even, well, anything, haven't we? Sorry, ignore my earlier question. It's definitely weird.
It's fine. I don't mind. At all. I was just thinking it's cute.
Cute?
What do you mean before we're even anything, though? We have been dating for a few months.
Like liars.
That doesn't count. I mean, like, well, we've been living together before we've even been on a date. A proper one.
A proper date. Flustered Millie is so cute. She is. In all of our escape plans, Millie had mentioned a lot of dates I was taking her on. To the zoo, to the movies, to a book signing event, even to more obscure places like an espresso tasting tour. It seems silly in retrospect that having a traditional romance was part of our whole act, yet neither of us really seem to care about it. At least from what Millie's told me, it's just something that she thinks makes a good story. Still, may as well do things the right way. Little steps at a time.
Let's have a date tonight.
Spontaneous olive. Just jaw drop. Millie blinks, surprised by my sudden introduction of plans for the evening. Butterflies flip in my stomach. The ability to say romantic things came easily when it was pretend and has remained natural now that it's real. But the sudden overwhelming shyness is impossible to power through. I instinctively adjust my glasses just a little too long to hide my face.
Oh, not that I don't want to, of course, but we don't have to do this tonight just because I brought it up.
It's not just that. I want to have a date with you. I just realized I should have suggested it earlier.
A smile finds its way to Millie's face. She leans back against the nearby counter, tilting her head to the side as she thinks.
Where should we go then?
I glance at the clock on the wall, its hour hand creeping closer to 4.
It'd probably be hard to get any last-minute reservations now, huh?
Still worth a shot.
Not that we could afford anywhere fancy anyway.
Fake dating was really the best in that regard. Your dad must have thought I'm loaded with all the nights out we had.
Maybe we could do something here?
Here? In the apartment? Are you sure you don't want to go out anywhere or anything?
Is that okay?
Yeah, I'd love to. I just figured you'd be more into, bigger things.
Fake girlfriend Millie's tastes are a lot more expensive than mine. It's way harder to argue with someone who has plans to go out than it is to ask them to put off a cozy movie night.
Guess I was a little bit off. Still, a cozy date night sounds like a dream.
Then, at least let me prepare dinner for us. It's finally our first date, what the readers have been waiting for. I have to set the tone for the rest of the story and all that.
That's very cute, the way they do that.
Oh, you're such a romantic.
Millie fixes a stray piece of hair in the same movement, looking herself over. Her brows knit together before she quickly bounces back to the present, giving me a heart-skipping smile.
Well, I think I'll take the opportunity to go get us some refreshments. See you in an hour or two?
Sounds perfect.
Okay. Millie begins gathering things, flitting from one shelf to the next as she grabs small trinkets she's left around the apartment. From her phone, to her wallet, to her keys, she bounces to and from, putting them into her pockets. In the meanwhile, I start rummaging through my fridge, trying to put a meal together in my head as I go. I love her jacket too. It's so pretty. I hear Millie give Mr. Mo pets and tell him not to beg me for any scraps while I'm cooking. Oh, he will. After that, she leaves, the absence of the sound of the door locking reminding me once more that I need to get her a key. Pulling out a selection of ingredients from the fridge, I get to work. The aroma of garlic, onion, and bell pepper wafts through the kitchen as the vegetables complete cooking in the splash of seasoned olive oil. Olive oil. The shrimp, cooked on the side just in case, swim in a mixture of lemon juice and salt, their color already a beautiful pink. I dump the fettuccine into the colander set up in the sink, ducking my head away from the steam as it billows up. Mr. Mo yowls in protest at my feet, the sense of seafood reminding him how he's only eaten 3 bowls of food so far. The food sizzles with renewed vigor as I put the leftover water and noodles into the vegetables, stirring it together as I move the pan across the flame. I season the food all together once more, adding a bit more lemon juice, the final touch, before covering the pan with a lid and turning the heat down low.
Whew.
As confident as I am in this sort of cooking, the only other person I've tried cooking for, really cooking for, not just as a job, has been my mom. Even then, it's usually the same few recipes that I already know she enjoys. For Millie, this is kind of a leap. A mindful one, I hope, but a leap nonetheless. As much as she's commented on wanting more seafood and how much she loves pasta, it's entirely possible she's not a fan of shrimp or bell peppers or even lemon. Still, my gut says that she'll like it. In a move completely unlike me, I've decided to trust it. I wiped the sweat off my forehead. Setup was pretty quick, taking me less time than I expected. Checking my phone, there's no word yet from Millie either.
I wonder if I still have those candles Mom left.
Cute. I'm sure I have something to decorate with. Despite my mom's best attempts to get me to brighten up the place, I've been storing all the trappings into the hall closet and promising to get to it later. Better now than never, I suppose.
Well, I did my best, Mr. Mo. What do you think?
Fairy lights, yeah! Bowling ball. I loved him.
Thanks.
And they're talking with him. Oh. Placemats at the table are definitely spring-themed, pastel flowers and sun rays adorning the entire design. The candles are some cheap tea lights my mom left me for the holidays last year, and the only plates I have look gifted out of the early 80s. The fairy lights around the room at least provide a nice ambiance, sparse as they are. I don't have time to change my mind about it. Millie's familiar rhythmic knock sounds from the door before she enters. Its unlocked state the norm for now. If nobody got me, I know Mr. Mo got me. True.
I'm home.
Ah. Also glasses. Ah.
Welcome back.
I turn around and, to my surprise, a bespectacled Millie closes the door behind her. She self-consciously adjusts her glasses when she meets my gaze, quickly breaking eye contact and darting her gaze towards the floor.
Those contacts have been giving me a headache for ages. Figured now's as good a time as any to make a change, even if I look dorky.
Dorky, huh?
Olive's like, excuse me? With an exaggerated frown, I remove my glasses and turn them over in my hands, as if contemplating their destruction. Millie smiles. Maybe? It's hard to see, and swipes them out from out of my hands before placing them back on my face.
They look a lot better on you.
I see. What a shame. Guess I'm just a dork by nature.
You know that's not what I mean.
At least I have Mr. Mo. He would never criticize me.
I assure you his meows at mealtime are not very kind.
She turns to the table and places a brown paper bag on top, unfolding it in one smooth movement. Didn't win the 1%. Is there a thing that can happen there? Or is it like, or is it just I missed a line? Sippies. I'm gonna ask about this later. She turns to the table and places a brown paper bag. Oh yeah, unfolding it in one smooth movement. It reveals 2 slices of cake, each with a glazed strawberry and vanilla buttercream. Oh, that sounds good.
Ta-da! I brought dessert! They're from a bakery by my dad's shop. I couldn't let you have all the fun putting our date together.
As she says that, she does look around the room, her eyes basically shining. As unimpressive as I thought it was, Millie exhales a content sigh.
You really went all out, huh?
I wish I could do more. Can I take your jacket?
Smooth, Olive. Smooth.
Actually, could you turn around?
Millie?
Huh?
Just for a minute. This is all so nice and thoughtful. At least let me have this.
My heart leaps out of my chest. How am I supposed to react to that? I forget how to speak. Instead, I manage a stiff nod and turn around, closing my eyes for good measure. I hear the sounds of her jacket buttons unclipping and realize as she moves over to the coat hanger that she must be wearing heels. After a few more moments in shuffling, she clears her throat.
Okay, ready.
Oh, she's so pretty. Millie smiles before me, her eyes lighting up with the reflections of the candles on the table next to us and the string of twinkle lights above us. Her braid is twisted slightly, resting just behind her shoulder in a loose bundle and framing her face with a few loose strands.
I'm really excited for our date tonight. Thank you for setting it up for us.
You're gorgeous.
Olive, thank you. I stopped home to... Well, I just wanted to...
She blushes, shaking her head and slightly squeezing my hands.
Shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not specifically the dress or her hair or even her glasses. As Millie is before me, it's the air of confidence and comfort that I've never seen that is making her so beautiful. There's a comfort and relaxation to it all despite all the occasion. I think and hope Millie feels it too. As romantic as the night is, something about being able to share an evening together so intentionally and together is more important than any other reason. I pull out the chair for her and sit across from her at the table. Without further ado, I serve our plates and we have our first dinner date. Guys, I'm trying very hard to not
I'm so full.
scream.
That was amazing. Thank you for cooking.
It was my pleasure. I definitely overate too.
We share a small groan and laugh. The outside air is refreshing. Cold, but not insufferable. After eating our weight in pasta, Millie suggested we walk it off. The night is filled with lights from leftover holiday decorations and street lamps, and yet it's like we're the only two people in the world.
So, how's everything?
Is that an attempt at small talk?
Only if you want it to be.
Uh-huh.
She giggles, walking in a bit closer to me. I extend a hand to her, which she takes, swinging it between us with each step. Man, I can't believe they're holding hands. That shit's lewd. Thankfully, we can't see it.
Well, I don't know if I have a single word for it. It's like at Christmas when I saw the painting. Everything that was held together like a house of cards just sort of collapsed. Everything that's happened after, you finding me, us moving in together, and now our date, it feels like it's building back up.
She pauses long enough for me to be unsure that she's going to continue. In the distance, the plaza lights are coming into view, filling the horizon with a warm glow.
Can I ask what you mean exactly? Oh, what's being built back up, I mean.
Stability, I guess.
She looks up towards the sky. I follow her gaze, trying to see whatever she sees. The stars aren't really visible. They never are, not here. Only a few bright ones manage to peek through the pollution of light in the clouds, and the rest are airplanes or radio towers flying by.
Ever since my mom passed, I've always felt unbalanced. Like I was this close to falling one way or another. She was my rock. Every morning we had breakfast together, every night we read together, and one day she was gone. I didn't know what to do or who I was, except that I wanted to be a writer someday, so I focused on my education. I poured all of my heart into my schoolwork, even though, honestly, I'm just not very good at it. It's only through hours and hours of hard work and tears that I am where I am now. It's why I was drawn to you.
My pathetic performance in school was a positive?
No, not exactly.
Ah, but it was a little bit.
I know what it's like. To feel like everything is crashing down, and so much of this doesn't come naturally. It's a lot. But I always had caprice. Honestly, if you'd chosen the art club, you might have been in better hands.
I never imagined you would struggle with that kind of thing.
It comes in waves. It was really hard in middle school, but I managed to find a way to power through. Even when I didn't want her to, Caprice had been pushing me forward, helping me study and still find the time and energy to pursue writing.
But then, the engagement happened.
Exactly. I felt like I had made a terrible mistake because I realized just how much I had relied on her. I love her, I do. She's my sister, whether our parents got married or not. I wish she understood that, but she either can't or won't. But Olive, with you, I feel like we're in this together. I helped you get through writing, sure, but that's all it was. All of your accomplishments are still your own. I felt like I owed every single one of my own dreams and successes to someone else. Do you get what I mean?
I think so. In a way, at least. I don't think... No. I know I couldn't have passed this semester without you there.
Are we going to be evil? What are you doing?
But I don't think that was a bad thing. You were there when I needed you. I felt relieved when you asked me to help you get some space once in a while. It was like I could finally return the favor in some way.
The plaza is quiet. A dusting of snow is falling, melting as soon as it reaches the ground. I try to read her expression. Her eyes are warm, but that lingering sadness I've come to know has returned. I want to backpedal to tell her that she'll never need to worry about owing someone else anything, but it's not true. I owe so much of where I am to her, to my professors, to my mom.
We're supposed to help each other. That's all I mean. Your confidence and energy, finding yourself, that makes me so happy. I just still want you to be able to turn to me because I love you.
Not easy to have as a partner, you know. I need time to work things out, to think them through. I don't always know what I want.
I'll wait for you. I hope you believe me when I say I love you for who you are. I love you enough to trust you'll tell me when you're ready.
My heart skips in my chest at the thought. It's easy to say, but I understand what she's coming from. It's scary to allow yourself to be loved, especially when it requires effort and inconvenience. But through Millie, I've come to understand that having someone you love burden you is a gift. I want her to rely on me. I want to rely on her too.
Is dating me what you want right now?
I try to ask this delicately, to make sure. We came together at a tumultuous time, and I want her to know more than anything that it's okay if she feels otherwise.
It is.
She responds softly, but the dedication in her words leaves no room for doubt.
I love you, Olive. I want to think about everything we've spoken about. But I at least want you to know I'm very happy spending our time together like this. I'm happy with you.
I'm happy with you too.
Can I,
She stops herself, glancing away. The giant holiday tree behind us illuminates her with a golden light.
Can I kiss you?
She was like, I was gonna say that. Her unfinished question finds its way to me. She turns to me in surprise, then nods, color reaching her face.
please do.
Gabies. I feel her lace our hands together, the hands we've been holding for each other all this time. I cup her face with my freed hand and she leans in, her foggy breath mixing in the space between us. Proper kiss. The idea rings in my head. My lips reach hers in a movement I've been thinking about ever since our encounter in the library. And with our connection, she squeezes my hand in hers. Our first date comes to an end. Even if we don't have all the answers, or know exactly what tomorrow will bring, I know we love each other. And that's more than enough. Oh, they're so good, chat. Snow covers the ground, but the weather feels pleasant, relatively speaking. At the very least, it's warm enough to warrant an early morning drive, so I wasn't too surprised when Millie originally pitched the idea. My concerns rose slightly when she grabbed her mom's journal on the way out the door. And then again, when it became obvious where we were going. Junebug comes to a stop off the side of the road, puttering as her engine comes to a rest.
We're here.
We hold hands as we slowly make our way across the bridge, both as an act of intimacy as well as a means to share our warmth. Millie's other hand is her journal, clutched tightly. Around the halfway point or so, she releases my hand and turns out to the horizon, leaning against the railing after gently brushing off some snow into the dancing lights on the water below. She does the same for a portion of railing beside her, and I take it as a silent invitation to join her. She turns to me and smiles as I take my place beside her, but quickly turns her attention back to her book, tracing the star on the cover with her finger.
Sorry for dragging you out here. I've been thinking.
She takes a small breath to give herself the energy to finish her thought.
Well, there's an entry in Mom's journal I'd really like to share with you, and I wanted a clear head to do it.
She turns once more to me, asking for consent to continue with her eyes.
Are you sure?
More sure than I've been about a lot of things recently.
She continues to stare at me, and it's only after a few moments I realize she's waiting for a confirmation. I oblige with a small nod, and not long after, she pushes herself up from the railing before opening her journal to the page she had bookmarked.
Page 61. When it's time to let go.
Oh. Page 61. Oh, no.
I've left a lot of hopes and wishes for you in these pages, but this one is extra important. Sometimes in your life, and sometimes soon, you'll realize that things that once made you happy simply don't anymore. When moments like this happen, I want you to know it's okay to let go. In fact, you should. The longer you hold on to a long-faded feeling of joy, the more you'll start to tie it to the bad feelings it's giving you. So, let it go. Let it stay a happy memory, locked in time. Revisit it whenever you want. Just remember that building new experiences on top isn't the same as burying it, okay?
A content sigh leaves her lips as she finishes the final sentence. Her eyes never once leave the page, though.
I wrote a response to her, here at the bottom.
What'd you write?
I could never move on from you.
Oh. Did she ever write back?
She shakes her head, though the movement is so subtle it barely registers as such.
I wrote it after she left us.
Oh, Millie. Every part of me feels compelled to do something. Grab at her hand, pull her close. Anything to narrow the distance between us in this moment. Instead, nothing. I stay locked in place, and she hers.
I've read every page of this front to back hundreds of times. I could recite every word of hers by heart. These past few days, though, I find myself revisiting this entry, time and time again. I've read every word, but registered almost none of it, really.
She finally turns her gaze back to me, smiling sweetly. Where I expect to find sadness, I find none. Her face instead reflecting a kind of peace I don't think I've ever seen her show. I want to respond, but I find myself just as paralyzed as I was before, not entirely sure where she had intended to take this. The silence doesn't seem to faze her, gently closing her journal before digging into her coat pocket for her phone. She pulls it out and immediately starts tapping away with her one free hand. Not long after, my phone starts buzzing in several small bursts. Millie looks at me expectantly, and I hesitantly check on my phone as well, a feeling of unease overtaking me as I wonder what I'm going to be met with. Oh. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry for the lack of communication lately. I've got an announcement to make regarding the writing club. Our next meeting is scheduled for this coming Thursday, and it'll be our last. Thanks for your understanding. I hope to see everyone there to send the club off. My heart, originally stuck in my throat, drops deep down into my stomach. The club, in my time knowing it at least, had always been in a dire situation, but I wanted to believe we could make it work. She deserved that, at least.
Millie, you don't have to.
It's okay, Olive. Really.
She joins me back on the railing, completely unfazed by the bombshell she herself just dropped.
The time between the last meeting and now has been the happiest I've felt in a while. And I've been thinking a lot about if it was worth trying to keep it going. I've decided I think I'm ready to let go. Of this, at least. It's time.
I grip at the railing, even as my fingers protest against the freezing steel.
I really wanted it to work.
As she takes a small step toward me, enough to have our shoulders touch.
I know. Thank you for believing till the very end. It means more than you know.
She nudges my shoulder, prompting me to meet her eyes.
I know this is the right thing to do, and I feel good about the decision right now. But I know the day of is going to be tough. I hope I can count on you then as much as I have been lately.
For the first time all day, I know exactly what to say.
And every day after.
Oh, that's so cute. She breathes a quiet laugh, nods her head, and leans in for a kiss in response.
Just a little longer. Sorry.
I know Millie is the one making the decision, but I hope Darren's okay. Yeah. I'm worried about how he's gonna take it.
It's fine. Don't worry.
The last day of the writing club is upon us. Tanya popped in for a moment to apologize to Millie, but she didn't stick around. Even Darren didn't show. It's disappointing, but I think Millie and I understand he has his reasons. And so we sit in our desks, last remnants of the club, staring at nothing in particular on the other side of the window. It's quiet. Quieter than the usual meeting. Millie said little since we arrived to pack things away, but her face says more than any words could. I'm sorry I couldn't do more. Even if everything else falls down around you, I wanted you to have this. More than anything.
I tried, you know. At the end of the semester that it was passed off to me, almost every waking moment during the break was spent preparing.
I know.
Then, the day after classes resumed, I returned to a club a quarter of its size. After a week, it was an eighth. After a month, it was just Heather and I. Tanya only signed on after I started panicking.
Yeah.
I did everything right. It never even occurred to me that it was just a giant hangout for a bunch of pre-existing friends. That the actual love of the craft wasn't a factor in the slightest.
These one-word responses are awful, and I know it, so why is it so hard to say anything else? I reach over to grab her hand. Her arms hang over a gap between two desks, her fingers grasping mine in an unbreakable grip. We sit like this for a while. Whether it's minutes or hours, I'd struggle to say. The only break in silence is the occasional sniffle, which she valiantly tries to hide, as futile of an exercise as that may be. Eventually, there are 3 gentle knocks on the door. I turn my head on instinct, but Millie's head doesn't move so much as an inch, eyes trained firmly outside.
It's open!
With the confirmation received, the handle turns and the old door slowly creaks open.
Thank goodness. I was worried to death I'd miss you.
That's finally enough to pull Millie's attention away from the window and back to the inside of the room.
No farewell party, I'm afraid. It's nice to see you, though.
Well, actually, I shouldn't get ahead of myself. Here.
He makes his way inside, offering Millie a thick stack of papers, holes punched through the sides, bound together by twine.
The entire first draft, as promised.
Is he just being like, I acknowledge that you have made a decision to close down the club, but that is a stupid decision. Millie loosens her grip from my hand, using her newfound freedom to flip through the pages.
Darren, this has to be at least an extra 100 pages more than what you showed me last time.
Sorry if it comes off as rushed. I had a sudden deadline I needed to hit.
Shocker.
I really appreciate it. If you don't mind, I'd like to give it the time it deserves and read it at a proper pace.
Oh, yeah, take your time.
She finishes her skim, closing the makeshift book in her hands as she looks back up to him.
Is there anywhere I can reach you to leave my feedback once I get through it?
Yeah, actually. There's another paper underneath the stack.
Millie tilts her head, looking puzzled as she slides the stray piece of paper up to the top. It doesn't take long for Millie to recognize it, eyes widening after only a couple moments.
Darren, what?
I'm not going to ask you to change your mind. I definitely think you've earned a break from all of this. At the same time, I was thinking, it sucks. You having to be the one to shutter the club after it had been going on for years.
My curiosity gets the better of me. I lean over to Millie to get a glimpse at the paper that's causing so much fuss. A transfer of leadership request? It looks official too, with fine print and the school's logo. What on earth is this guy thinking?
So, you want to close it yourself, or...?
I'd actually like to keep it going, if I can.
Darren, that means starting from scratch. You'll have to advertise, sign up for the club fair, have to actually manage a group of people if it gets off the ground.
You are an introvert. Are you prepared for the bullshit you're about to put yourself through?
I know. Leave it there before I start second-guessing this, please.
I want to laugh, but instead I'm left speechless. This is so far outside of Darren's comfort zone, he may as well be in another galaxy entirely.
Can I ask why you came to this decision? Or even how?
Well, I was talking to a friend about this.
I wonder if he's talking about when we went and talked to Caprice.
Right.
And they said that A club is nothing more than a group of people who share a common interest and like
Okay,
being
yeah,
around
definitely
each other.
Caprice. I can only hope my smile isn't too obvious.
I'm not sure I'm the right one for this necessarily, but if the club is down to just me after you two move on, that sounds like as good a time as any to start again with that philosophy in mind. Starting over can be easier than trying to salvage what you have sometimes, I think.
A deep breath followed by a smile. A rarity for Millie these days.
Sounds like your friend knows her stuff.
Huh? Huh? Huh?
Only time will tell, but no harm in trying to put her advice to practice, given the circumstances.
Hold up, hold up, hold up. Yeah, knows her stuff. Yeah, nothing was said before about the person's gender. So she's like, ah, I see you went and talked to Caprice.
Wait, their advice.
Of course.
You're free to come back whenever, obviously. And it's your decision in the end. I filled everything else out already, but I need your signature.
Millie looks down on the form again before giving a scan of the room. Her head swivels slowly, trying to commit every last detail of her club room to memory.
I'll need a pen.
It's my turn to chip in. I reach down and pull up my backpack from the floor, rummaging through it until I manage to pull out a pen for her. She takes it as soon as I offer it up, signing her name with a dramatic swoosh. She takes one more look at the document, freshly signed. Reaching at her own bag, she puts Darren's writing away and pulls out a keyring to replace it.
You'll need these too then.
Hell yeah, Darren. My boy. Her voice finally begins to shake. Against all odds, the club lives to see another day. It'll just be him for now, but it's hard for me to not root for him. Millie, yeah, hi Possum. We did the first date already, and it was so good. He takes the keys and document without a word. His faint smile grows ever so slightly as he goes over the sheet one more time, ensuring that all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted. He's so important. He's the man.
That club's got a long history, or so I'm told. You've got some big shoes to fill.
I know. All I can do is try my best.
It couldn't be in better hands. A lot to live up to. Find a true friend in Darren. Hell yeah! Blame me for your evil? What did you do? The evil did summon me? Oh no. Continuing his check, he's left completely unaware as Millie pulls him into a hug, with tears starting in earnest. Aw, baby.
Thank you. Good luck.
She caused me emotional distress. Don't worry, it's normal. Oh no, that sounds bad, doesn't it? We do love an evil wolf. Days like this have started to feel normal. Almost mundane. With club meetings no longer taking up our evenings, Millie sits on the couch and chips away at a novel she picked up from the library while I prepare our dinner after a typical day of classes.
Tortilla soup for dinner tonight. How much chili powder am I adding?
None.
None whatsoever, thanks.
It's hard not to laugh at her flat dismissal from across the room, not even missing a beat. I sprinkle in the bare minimum I can to prevent it from tasting entirely flat. I can only hope she'll forgive me later. As I stir away, the quiet both of us have been enjoying is interrupted by my phone ringing on the counter. I scoop it up with my free hand, eyeing the sender's name with some amount of surprise.
It's Haley.
White girl? Yup. She's just like me, for real, for real. That's enough to get Millie's attention in earnest, closing her book and making her way to my side, intent on listening in. Once she's situated to her liking, I press the button and let the call through.
Haley, been a minute. What's up?
Hey, sorry if this is sudden. I've been trying not to pry.
Her pace is noticeably faster than her typical lethargic delivery.
I haven't seen much of Millie since the holidays, and neither of them have talked to me about it. I know it's not technically my business, but I can't stand being in the dark about this any longer.
I glance at my girlfriend. Ah. The guilt on her face makes it obvious enough that she caught that.
She's fine if that's what you wanted to know. It's not really my place to talk about their home life if they haven't, though.
I understand.
She's given up on trying to keep her tone subtle, the mounting frustration becoming all too obvious.
Have you tried talking to Millie about this at all?
I can make out an unamused snort on the other end.
As if she's actually spoken to me in forever.
There's a silence over the phone that's impossible for me to fully read.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't be talking about her like that. Least of all to you. Forget I even called.
It's okay.
The beep of the call ending interrupts me before I get the chance to finish. I bring the phone down from my ear and briefly inspect the screen to make sure I didn't actually accidentally hang up on her somehow. Nope. Just her. Oh, Cyber Larry, thank you for the hydrate. Give me 1 sec. Thank you. A small, unexpected laugh from Millie pulls my eyes upward again. She shakes her head and waves, and the smile on her face doesn't reach her eyes, but it isn't entirely sad either. A silent display of acceptance and remorse all at once.
I was just realizing how right she was. I've been giving both of them the cold shoulder for too long.
She takes a step closer and stirs the soup I'd been preparing for us, making me realize I'd been leaving it unattended during the call.
Are you okay with taking a drive tonight?
Millie shuffles into her former apartment, with me following as close as I can, shutting the door behind us as we make our way inside from the cold. Haley's loitering around in the living area, not doing anything in particular outside of waiting for us to arrive, it seems. Millie called her back not long after our earlier conversation, finally ready to talk things out. As part of Millie's impromptu peace talks, I have a couple Tupperware containers worth of soup for Haley and Caprice. Haley's portion has her name written on the side. I added a little extra kick to it based on what I know of her preferences. Haley gives me a curious look as I carefully set them down on the counter. She still has the keys. I imagine they probably just left it open for her.
Thought you might appreciate an actual dinner. No chance they're already frozen over, but a couple minutes in the microwave won't hurt.
Thanks.
It's the least we can do after all the stress I've been causing you lately.
Millie takes a breath before continuing.
Is Caprice going to be okay with leaving her room? I'd like to talk to both of you, if possible.
Millie waits for a response, but only silence follows. After sitting in the awkward silence for a second too long, Millie leans to look past her friend down into the hall.
Well, I'll go ask her directly then.
Millie speaks in a hushed tone, not wanting the subject of her discussion to be bothered. It's loud enough for Haley to hear, though, and her eyes immediately snap back to Millie.
Caprice isn't here.
Oh.
Huh?
Millie's eyes couldn't widen any more than they widen now. The various little things she wanted to discuss leave her mind, replaced only by a single question.
What do you mean she's not here?
I mean, she's not here. I don't know what part of that is open to interpretation.
Millie's inner peace that she spent the last couple of weeks nursing and restoring shatters in an instant, eyes darting back and forth while she tries to formulate her words.
I mean, where is she? Do you know? Why didn't you say anything?
Haley's eyes narrows and her features tug downwards. I reach for Millie's hand in instinct to both try and calm her down, as well as just remind her I'm still there.
Her mom's place. I thought the total lack of communication is why you came here. When have you given me a chance to tell you anything?
Charlie's. Good.
The back half of Haley's statement didn't even make it to Millie's train of thought. Likely for the best.
Sorry to drag you around town, Olive, but we're going to pay her a visit. Haley, would you come with? We'll talk more later.
Wait. Slow down a sec. Take a breath. Trying to corner her without warning won't do anyone any good right now.
She practically jumps out of her skin as I interrupt her stream of thoughts. She pauses and forces herself to inhale, trying her best to collect herself again. After an exhale, instead of addressing either of us, she instead reaches into her coat for her phone. She dials someone up and puts it on speaker as it rings, pacing back and forth as Haley and I watch on.
Millie?
Wallace, hi. I wanted to ask about Caprice, if you don't mind.
I've actually been meaning to ask you about her myself. Now's as good a time as any to trade notes.
Ask me about what?
Oh, well, just wondering how things have been. None of us have seen her for a while.
Ew.
How long is a while?
We had a meeting right before the semester started up again, but she got up and left abruptly. That's the last we've heard from her.
Oh no.
Before the semester started? So, a matter of weeks?
Yeah. Hasn't called any meetings. Hell, hasn't even responded when we got together and invited her ourselves. Eileen, of all people, is getting worried at this point.
Millie's pacing stops, her back turned to us.
I see.
You know if she's okay? Figure you'd know better than any of us.
I really wish that were true. She's safe, at least. I'll let you know once I hear anything past that.
Okay. Make sure you look after yourself, too. Later, Mills.
With a blip, Wallace is gone. Millie stands in place long after he hangs up, not even finding the willpower to turn around.
Has she been gone all this time?
Yeah, that more or less matches up with when she left.
Millie finally turns around, dragging her feet back over to us before eventually burying her face in her hands and speaking through them.
I'm so sorry. I never meant to leave you alone all this time. I didn't realize... I didn't even give you a chance to tell me what with my behavior. I didn't even text. I'm so sorry.
Hey, come on. This isn't about me.
Millie looks up from her hands, the stress on her face plain.
It's about you as much as anyone else. Both of us have put so much on you, and I was just off living blissful ignorance while you two were suffering alone. I can't say enough, Haley. God, Caprice.
Haley sighs. Something about how simple it is, it seems to register in Millie's head as a way to say, okay, slow down. Most things about Haley do, really.
You're here now, right?
Oh, friend hugs. Yay. She steps forward and embraces her friend as Millie's tears start in earnest. They gently take a step closer, rubbing her back alongside Haley's hug.
You needed some time to get to this point.
Yeah.
The three of us stay there until Millie's cries turn to sniffles, then eventually back to a calm silence.
I'll do my best to fix things the right way.
That's all I ever wanted from you two.
Yeah, her smile is so good. Haley smiles, totally unrestrained, no longer trying to hide her emotions as it grows ever wider across her face.
Remember that Caprice deserves a hug like this too.
I will. Of course I will.
Oh. Twofold does such wonderful CGs. It do. Millie and I sit together on the couch. Millie is lost in a book while I try my best to enjoy the quiet atmosphere with her. At this point, it's nothing out of the ordinary from how we've been spending our evenings. Except this isn't our couch, and her book isn't the usual mystery novel. She's buried herself in its pages, her face hidden by the cover, the now all too familiar shooting star. I'm not sure if it's to frantically search for an answer to some unspoken question, or merely to distract herself from our situation. Probably some mix of the two. As soon as we got back home from visiting Haley, Millie started making calls. First to her dad, and then, after Caprice refused to pick up, to Charlie. A simple request to try again. To speak honestly and opening, leaving nothing on the table. Not really a complex plan, but it was enough to win the two over. Not that I doubt they'd have accepted anyway. The only uncertainty left is Caprice, but Charlie assured Millie she'd do her best to bring her along. The Clark house is exactly how I remembered leaving it. Stressful silence included. The tree's still up, but I guess Mike hasn't had the motivation to tear it down yet. Mike's off in the kitchen working on something or other, faint chopping sounds being the only other noise in the large house. 3 knocks on the door breaks us all from our respective trances. Flips through pages. Do you just have the entire VN, dialogue written down in a book? Because that would be cool. I mean, I wouldn't put it past her. He hasn't said no. I look behind me to watch as Mike makes his way to the front of the house, and turn back once Millie's hand finds mine, giving it a tight squeeze. She doesn't make eye contact, still hiding most of her face behind her now closed journal. Mike wordlessly opens the door, revealing Charlie. Just Charlie. Mike instinctively leans in for a hug, but thinks better of it. Millie wears a difficult expression as he quickly pulls himself back upright.
Make yourself comfortable. Won't be a sec.
Feels like it's been hours since I last heard someone speak, to the point where I actually jump a little as he addresses her. She responds with a nod as she takes off her coat, prompting him to retreat back to the kitchen while she makes her way towards us.
Hey, you two. Been a while.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
I right myself and try my best to put on a natural-looking smile. I can't do much, but I can at least do my part to make sure the atmosphere starts off okay.
It's good to see you again, ma'am. I didn't know you worked at the aquarium.
She briefly gives me a confused look before glancing down and recognizing the source of my clairvoyance.
Been a tour guide for just over 20 years now, actually. I can tell you just about anything you need to know about the creatures of the deep, so long as I'm given a script to memorize a week or two beforehand.
Mood.
Wow. You must really like fish.
She gives me a laugh, sincere, though small.
That's always been more Caprice's thing. I actually thought about looking for another job, but it was enough for Caprice and I, and she always loved visiting.
The smile she briefly had while recounting her job sparks something in her, and her gloomy expression returns just as quickly as it had faded. She turns to Millie.
Hey, sorry. I tried to get her to join us. She said she would and join me when I left for work today.
No longer being able to avoid the conversation, Millie finally looks up, meeting Charlie's eyes just in time for Charlie to avert hers.
When I clocked out and told her we were leaving, she said she didn't feel up to it after all and stayed behind.
She's still at the aquarium?
Yeah, probably. I told her to call me when she wanted a ride back home.
Millie doesn't respond verbally, her growing frown doing enough speaking for her. And so the conversation ends, the home returning to relative silence, broken up only by Mike's shuffling about in the other room.
You should sit down.
Charlie initially meets her with shock before donning an awkward half-smile.
Don't worry about me. I appreciate it, though.
You've literally been at work all day. Sit. Nope, scoots over, pat, 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 sit. Millie protests in her own silent way, inching herself closer to me and patting the cushion next to her. Out of the ways to reject the offer, out of ways to reject the offer, Charlie finally accepts, finding her place next to Millie. Thankfully, it's not long before Mike joins us, placing a couple small fruit bowls on the table in front of us.
Just something light for now. I was hoping we'd have the chance to go to a proper dinner after this.
Neither Millie nor Charlie acknowledge his suggestion for the evening. Doing his best to shake off the awkwardness of it, he takes a seat next to Charlie, grabbing an orange slice for himself in the process.
So, Mills, we're listening. Whenever you're ready.
And it gets a reaction out of her, Millie's grip on my hand tightening as her name comes up. The silence drags on. Millie maintains my hand in hers, biting her bottom lip as she struggles to start. She looks towards me nervously. I give her a nod and shake her hand in mine.
Go ahead. I'm here.
Deep breath. We exhale together. Millie focuses her eyes down on the floor as she takes to her feet.
I'm scared.
That was enough to train all of the eyes in the room on her. I match her squeeze with one of my own to remind her I'm there, which gives her just enough willpower to push on.
I've been thinking about and rehearsing everything I've wanted to say all day, and the more I do, the more it all sounds silly and irrational. I know I'm in the wrong for a lot of things. Maybe even all of them. I think that's how I'd see it if I were in your shoes anyway.
I don't think this is a right and wrong kind of situation. I guarantee I'm not gonna love you any less over what you have to say.
It doesn't matter if it's silly or irrational if that's how you really feel. That's all we've ever cared about.
It takes a minute, but Millie's hold on me eventually loosens. She uses her now freed hand to open her journal to one of several pages she had bookmarked this morning.
If you're ever feeling lost, always know that Dad will be there to lend you an ear. And if for whatever reason he isn't, I'm sure Charlie will be. If nothing else, please remember that you'll never be alone. Mom left all of this advice, all these instructions to me, and I've clung to every word. But there's so many questions left unanswered. I didn't know where to turn when you two weren't an option.
You can always come to...
No, I couldn't. Not this time.
The sternness of her reply could easily be mistaken for frustration, but thankfully it fades as she allows herself a breath to refocus her thoughts.
I wanted to be happy for you two. I am. But dropping the news on us out of the blue that you started dating, then letting Caprice break the news for you that you were making things official, there was never enough time to process anything.
I'm sorry, Millie. That was never supposed to be how you found out.
I know, I don't blame you, or her, not anymore. But it doesn't change the fact that it made approaching any of you about this feel impossible. How could I when the three of you were so happy?
I understand. We never wanted to exclude you, sweetheart. I'm sorry we made you feel so alone.
I'm glad you were able to find Olive at least. Even if you felt that way about us, your dad and I were happy to hear you found someone you could lean on.
Millie gives me a glance, a silent request to admit what she can't.
We only started dating recently.
Ah, we're coming clean about the fakeness.
Well, obviously.
Like, after Christmas recently.
Huh.
It's just, I get it. I don't get it. With the groundwork now laid, Millie turns her attention back to the two, ready to pick up where I left off.
Up until the last few weeks, Olive was just my escape plan whenever you or Caprice tried to pull me into some family thing. I'm sorry for lying to you, but I just desperately needed the space.
I'm sorry, too. I didn't want to lie to any of you, but...
But you were doing right by her. It's okay. I get it.
Mike's interjection surprised Millie and I in equal measure, her eyebrows raised as high as they can go. Charlie doesn't elaborate, but her sad smile serves as enough of an agreement with her fiancé. With that first bombshell navigated about us as well as anyone could hope, Millie's confidence seems to come back to her as she returns to her book, posture straightened slightly.
Olive's been there for me as a friend and as a partner. Without them by my side, I don't know that I'd have the courage to do this. So, I'm just gonna come out and say it.
She lets go of my hand and holds her book, her hands caressing the cover as she continues.
This journal is the most important thing I own, written by the most important person in my life. It's my voice, helping me find words when I can't find them on my own. But for as thorough as she was, she left some things incomplete. I'd like you two to help fill in the blanks, because I don't know how to do it alone.
She waits for a response and gets none. Nevertheless, she thumbs to another of her bookmarks, pushing it up to skip to the section she had highlighted.
Page 53. I'm afraid of forgetting you. This was from me to her. She wrote down a response, talking about how she was afraid of the same thing, but that forgetting was okay. It was one of the only answers I could never really accept as it was. It's just heartbreaking beyond words. Imagining someone being okay with fading away into nothing.
Your mother will never be nothing to us. I hope I don't need to tell you that.
I know you mean that. I really do. It's just so hard to see what's happening and what it really means. There are parts of her that are gone forever. Grandma and Grandpa are gone, so there's no one around to remember her childhood. And there's the smaller things. What flowers she would grow in the garden in the back. Individual stories she'd read me. The weekends we'd all spend together. The finer details of her life are already fading away.
Millie starts to crack, a sniffle interrupting her train of thought. I do the only thing I can do and place a hand on her back, giving her a gentle rub.
And now, the stuff that really mattered to her, the things that defined her life, her wedding ring and how easily it was forgotten. You putting yours away, then replacing it with a new one? The photos of her, of us, slowly being taken down and replaced with newer, happier memories. I would never, ever want to get between you and your happiness, and I'm sorry for being so cold about it up until now. But it's just, sometimes it feels like every step closer to the marriage is one step away from her. And I'm worried that once the big day comes, it'll just be all of us washing our hands of what little is left of her. I was scared of forgetting her then, when she was still around and the memories were fresh. Now I'm terrified.
Tears start to fall, staining the immaculately maintained journal.
Oh, Mills.
Charlie brings her hand forward. She hesitates for a brief moment before committing, wrapping her arm around Millie's back, embracing her as best she can next to her on the couch.
There's so much I can't remember about her. All the stories I want to tell you or Caprice about our time in high school, or even just small moments we shared while raising the two of you that I just can't quite manage to recall. It breaks my heart to think about all the things that are just gone.
With my hand still on Millie's back, it's easy for me to notice the gentle shake Charlie gives her.
But it's okay. She didn't leave us much, but it was enough. Even if you didn't have your journal, or I didn't have my bracelet, or we didn't have our photos, it'd be fine.
For the first time today, Charlie doesn't hesitate to close the distance between herself and her daughter, scooting herself closer to tighten her hug around her.
All we need to remember is the love we felt for her and her us. That's who Adelaide was. Anything else is just a happy extra. That's why it's okay to forget. It's impossible for us to lose the one thing that really matters. That's what I think she meant.
All of us sit while Millie processes Charlie's answer. Her tears eventually stop, and the sniffle soon after.
There's one more page I want to look at.
Go ahead.
She flips to her last bookmark, only a few pages behind the current one.
Page 42. What to do if Dad gets a new mom. She left it blank.
Ooh. Charlie can't help but retreat away, both her and Mike's eyes wide. Charlie turns to Mike, hopeful he'll have an answer, but his expression shifts to a difficult one as the room looks to him. A quick spark of realization about something or other seems to hit him as his expression comes to life for a brief second. Whatever came to him quickly leads to frustration as he drags a hand down his face, his features being pulled downward in the process.
I've put you through so much. I had no idea.
Dad?
Mike brings himself to his feet. There he stands, eyes closed, the only movement from him being the tapping of his foot as he puts his thought in order.
I just need you to know, no matter how we felt, Charlie and I would never do something like this if we thought your mom might not approve of it. I know how that page must look and how hard it is to believe me, but I promise you that she just ran out of time. It's not...
I believe you.
What?
Mike swivels in place to face his daughter, eyes now wide open.
That's all I wanted to hear. I know you wouldn't lie about something like this.
'Cause she lied about what her mom put under that page number. Millie turns to me and gives me a gentle smile. She nudges my arm as she closes her journal, and I take the cue to raise it from her back. She reaches down, giving my hand one more soft squeeze before it's out of reach.
I needed time to grieve and go through the process of moving on. But above that, I needed to hear that from you, from both of you, that this wasn't us saying goodbye to her.
Both of us think about her every single day. I know you do too.
I know, I shouldn't... I know I never had any real reason to doubt you, but just... with everything moving so fast...
Like with Haley before, Millie collapses into her dad, hugging him with just everything she has. Just as quickly, Charlie and I are standing, Charlie joining Mike in comforting their daughter.
To put that on you too, to even think... I'm so sorry.
We understand. Of course we understand.
Thank you for talking about this with us. I'm sorry we weren't able to listen until now.
As the three huddle around, holding on to each other, I breathe a sigh of relief. The burden that had been on Millie's shoulders since before I met her is finally starting to lift, and I swear I can feel it almost as strongly. As they all slowly regain their composure, Millie pulls away, finding her spot by me once again. Adjusting her braid and glasses, she looks first to her parents, and then the door.
I wish Caprice could have been here for this.
Charlie's expression shifts and turns, having an internal debate with herself at Millie's statement. One side wins out as her posture relaxes again, a smile finding its way to her face.
You should catch her up to speed. I'm sure both of you still have some things to say to each other.
Millie plays with her braid, her uncertainty transparent.
Are you sure that's the best idea? I don't want to ambush her.
I trust you too. Just be honest with her, but gentle, and you'll be fine.
Charlie reaches into her back pocket, pulling out a couple slips of paper. She steps forward, presenting one to each of us. Little tickets for the aquarium. I flip it over curiously in my hand, the big, bold aquarium logo immediately grabbing my attention. Free entry pass. For use only by family of staff member Charlotte Amelia Shifton.
It'd be unfair to have you pay entry to do something like this. Save yourself a few dollars.
You tried to do that at the big aquarium that I know about in Toronto? Costs you like $60 a person. Actually, okay, I pulled that number out of my ass. I don't actually know how much it costs to get into the Ripley's Aquarium in Toronto, but I know it can't be cheap. Millie looks over the pass as if it was worth its weight in gold, eyes beginning to well, but not quite to the point of tears.
Then let me treat you.
Sapphic couples in the aquarium? It's more likely than you think. Well, that's shocking, because I imagine it's just like, yeah, if it's a sapphic couple, there's gotta be an aquarium in there somewhere. With the pass in her left hand, Millie extends her right towards Charlie, one holding her journal.
Millie, no.
I'm not giving it to you. I just want you to keep it safe until I can pick it up again when we meet for dinner tonight.
Aw, she picked up on Mike's suggestion.
If you did want to read it, though, I think that'd make her happy. She had some things to say to both of you, too.
With Millie's explanation and the implications it provides, Charlie finally accepts the book, though not without hesitation. Aquariums are the natural environment for sapphics. We sapphics are really not beating the stereotypes. No, we're not.
Sure you don't want to just take it with you?
Millie shakes her head.
I've used Mom's words when I couldn't find my own, ever since she gave that journal to me. Caprice needs to hear from me, though, not her.
Charlie and Mike smile and wrap their arms around each other, looking like a couple for the first time since I've known them.
See you tonight, then. Love you. Drive safe.
Call us if you need anything. Don't keep us waiting too long.
Love you both, too. I'll meet you at the usual place as soon as I pick up Caprice.
Millie turns to me again, a brilliant shine in her eyes and a smile on her face. She reaches for my hand, and I give it eagerly.
Sorry to keep dragging you into these things, Olive. You really make it all feel manageable.
Never a problem. Let me know if I can do anything else too.
Of course.
With a jingle, she produces her car keys, and outside, Junebug honks twice as Millie unlocks the doors. One more try. Side by side, we push through the cold wind and winter air towards the car. Not long after. Oh, that's a new one. Aw, that's a good aquarium. I can't remember the last time I've been to the aquarium. In every tank is a sea of colors. Delicate underwater blooms unfold in every direction. A swarm of fish pass by, their scales shimmering in the light, casting rainbow hues across the water. The plants sway to and fro like grass in the wind, and I watch it all with equal parts awe and interest. Caprice grew up here. The simple truth of that, paired with her coming here when it all became too much, reminds me of when I was young, holding my breath underwater in the pool for as long as I could. Millie points to a large stingray floating by, surrounded by smaller fish that I don't know the names of.
Stingrays used to be my favorite. I loved how they had a little smiling face on their underside.
Is a sea flap flap.
Used to be. Are they not anymore?
Olive, please. I'm a grown woman. My favorite is obviously the tiger shark now.
Oh my god, I love her.
Ah, I should have guessed.
Olive's just like... Olive is just thinking the same thing, like, God damn, I love you. Really? You're gonna key smash? She nudges against me. We stand there for a moment longer, waiting for the next rush of life to pass by before moving on. From what I remember, the aquarium is pretty small. 2 floors and about half or maybe a third of the size of the zoo altogether. What it lacks in size, it makes up for in variety. Each tank hosts a spectacle of creatures and plants, decorated with rocks and other features, all living together in closed, harmonious ecosystems. All of this to say, we're not in a rush. Wherever Caprice may be, we'll cross paths soon enough. The dull sound of waves crashing against the coral reef display, the hushed whispers of the stream of people nearby, and Millie by my side makes our journey here feel more purposed. Anxiety melts away, replaced by resolve.
There she is.
A wild gremlin. Before long, Millie points down a curved hall. A small shape silhouetted against a large tank, recognizable at an instant thanks to her signature hat and short stature. In the tank, bright blue water and hot pink rocks on the floor frame the dabbles of swimming color within. The fish move in slow swaths like paint on glass. And
Caprice?
And here we see a Caprice in her natural habitat at the aquarium. She turns towards us slightly in surprise. Then, with nothing more than an adjusting of her hat, walks away in the opposite direction.
Oh,
Millie falters. That was not what I expected either. The Caprice I've met so far has been reactive, bright, the type to try every tool at her disposal before even considering walking away. But now she looked at us just long enough to register our faces and left. I glance over to Millie, who's closed her eyes to shut out any tears that may dare fall.
Are you okay?
after so long of trying to fix everything on her own, I should have expected it. I should leave.
No, we can't.
Why?
She looks at me with a grim expression, but her voice doesn't have even an ounce of animosity.
Can I try talking to her first?
I don't know, Olive.
I just want to reach out.
Moving out from her apartment, not attending any art meetings, not responding to any messages. The feeling in my stomach turns. This isn't the same as what Millie was doing when she needed space. Something tells me this is worse. I don't know her that well, but maybe that'll be exactly why she'll give me a chance.
If you're sure.
I squeeze her hand, then let go, off in the direction Caprice disappeared to.
Hey.
Don't.
She doesn't turn around, just stares at the exhibit before her, a semi-outdoor scene dotted with fresh fallen snow and a miniature waterfall.
It's just me. Don't worry.
Almost like she doesn't believe me, Caprice glances back, looking at and around me for any sign of Millie. For a small smile. She doesn't walk away this time. She turns back to the glass. I walk closer to her to try and see what she sees. Before that, though, I notice something different. Blue highlights in her hair reflect the seaside vistas around her, making her appear as part of the aquarium herself. Yeah, I was thinking that those aren't normal, or those weren't there before, right? The blue highlights.
I like the hair.
Figured it was time for a change. It's about all I have control over anymore.
Caprice has become aquarium keeper of Sapphics. And the exhibit before us is pure tranquility. No sign of any fish or animals.
Looks like the otters are staying in today.
Aw, it's otters.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it is. So what do you want?
She pulls her hat down a bit more to obscure her expression. She doesn't continue, but she isn't being entirely cold either. It's in my court, then.
I want to be your friend.
Huh?
Obviously not a reply she expected. Caprice lifts her head and studies my face intently.
For whatever it's worth, all this time I've known both you and Millie. I wish we were better friends. I'm sorry we haven't been.
Why are you, of all people, apologizing? I was the one who... Just... never mind. It only feels worse to hear you say that. We're only acquaintances, and that's only because you're dating because you're dating Millie.
My best friend.
During Christmas, I was acting as Millie's partner, but we weren't actually together then. I lied to you.
Then, meaning you're together now. Doesn't really matter if it was before the holidays or not if the end is the same, does it? No offense, Olive, but I don't want to be friends just 'cause of that. If you think you'll help her by being our mediator, it won't. It didn't work for Haley, and we've known her for a whole lot longer than you.
I love Millie. I want her to be happy. But I'm not talking to you because I'm trying to fix her problems. I want to talk to you as a friend. Millie loves you. Even when you're fighting. No one wants you out of their lives. Her least of all.
I don't know how to articulate it. It's a feeling more than anything concrete. Jump of logic born out of the little I know about Caprice and how Christmas went. Hiding in the aquarium and making herself as sparse as possible to friends and family alike, I can only assume she's trying to make less problems for everyone, misguided as it is.
She just wants to talk to you. If you don't want to, that's okay. I just wanted you to know she's here.
Okay, I'll go talk to her.
Damn. That went faster than I thought it would.
Thank you, Ollie.
I paused slightly at that, using a nickname I've only heard from my mom. Caprice stretches a bit and adjusts her hat, turning to leave.
Do you want to go alone?
Nah. It'd be nice to have a friend there. For both of us.
I turned to follow, but not before noticing the informational sheet for the exhibit, the one Caprice was standing in front of. Ollie the Otter. Goddamn. Millie sits on a bench nearby where I left her. As we round the corner, she notices us out of the corner of her eye and stands, looking even more nervous than before.
Hey, Millie.
Hi, Olive? Caprice?
Olive said you wanted to talk to me.
I do.
Millie takes a long breath, squaring her shoulders back. I take the opportunity to stand close, but not in the middle, giving them space.
Are you okay?
Okay. No, Mills, I'm not. I've been trying so hard to understand you, and now you want to swoop in and be the good guy?
I'm not trying to...
I did my best. I just wanted to show you that the marriage was going to be a good thing, to show you how happy we could be as a family. Do you know how much it hurts to have your best friend just shut you out of her life?
I'm starting to.
I can't understand what I'm doing wrong if you won't tell me. That's all I wanted. I'm sorry that I'm too much and too excited and too me, but I just wanted you to be happy.
Oh, Caprice, please don't say that. I'm sorry. I don't want you to think that all of this is your fault. I need you to understand that what you were offering me was exactly what I didn't want.
What did you want then?
I needed to be sad, Caprice. I needed to be able to grieve and know that it was okay. Every single time I've brought my mom up, it's like everyone changes the subject just to cheer me up.
I had to, Millie. I had to try to make this work for all of us. I couldn't... Our parents are so happy together. They've sacrificed so much for raising us and always putting us first. Shouldn't they be allowed to be married with us by their side as a family?
We were already a family.
That can't be the only reason.
I didn't want the marriage because I was afraid of replacing the few memories I have left of my mom with yours. I'll never be able to walk into the kitchen and see my mom at the table drinking tea ever again. I'll never be able to come home and have her waiting there for me with a hug. When I realized I couldn't remember details about her anymore, I was scared. With the painting, it made me afraid that everyone else is forgetting her too. It breaks my heart that I love you and Charlie so much. I'm so excited to have you in my life. I want to move forward. It hurts to do that, but I need to feel that pain. I need to accept it. You wanted to protect me from it, I know. It just made it harder for me, made it all too loud and too much at once. I'm so sorry I didn't have the words for this earlier. You've always been my sister, Caprice. I didn't need you to prove it.
Caprice clutches her shirt tighter, folding over slightly with each and every word. She opens her mouth to speak several times. Tears spill over. Carefully, Millie reaches out. Her arms barely touch Caprice's, and then Caprice launches at her sister, throwing herself into her arms and hugging as tight as she can.
I'm sorry too.
Millie holds her, and everything she was holding back escapes too, crying into her shoulder. Backlit by the ocean, the two stand there, any other words they could have said melting away. They pick up Caprice's hat from the ground and look out into the water. Oh, our hair's all messed up. Time passes. After a few more moments, I hear shuffling as Caprice and Millie separate, sniffling loudly. Caprice starts looking around the ground, muttering under her breath about her hat. Meekly, I offer it to her, and she takes it from my hands with a polite smile. Flock of Seagulls haircut? Not even close. That shit involved hairspray. Caprice's is just kind of mussed up a bit. With Millie in the middle and Caprice and I on either side, three of us slowly make our way to the entrance of the aquarium again. Occasionally, one of us stops to comment on a fish or exhibit, a small attempt at finding a footing of normalcy again. The exit in sight makes all three of us come to a stop, standing together.
So, Dad and Charlie wanted to go out to dinner tonight. All together, if you're up for it.
What? Really? I mean, of course I am. Yes, absolutely.
Oh. Millie looks over at me, a smile on her face.
You're invited too, of course.
I'll sit this one out, actually. I'm going to see if my mom wants to get dinner together. Let me know how it goes, though.
If you're sure. I think it'll go a lot better than last time, which I'm sorry for again.
I'm sorry again, too.
I know, it's just that I kind of started it, so...
But
Maybe you two should take a break in apologies for today.
A good point.
Anyway, it wasn't all bad. I got a pretty cool friend out of it all, you know?
We shuffle out of the aquarium and into the cold. Or it would be cold. The sun is shining outside, leaving the afternoon surprisingly warm. Caprice bounds ahead towards Millie's car.
I call shotgun. I haven't had a ride in the old Junie in months.
Cars is bugs.
Old is right. I hope she isn't too excited when she hears how clunky the gear shift is.
I don't think anyone but you would notice that kind of thing.
Her dad might.
Do you want to ride?
I'm not sure. I think it'd be good if you two could have some quality time.
We have all the time in the world for that. Oh, and Olive?
Millie takes my hand in hers. She laces our fingers together, carefully and one by one. Taking a step closer, she rests her head against mine.
You'll come to the wedding, right? As my +1?
I have to withhold a laugh. Pulling Millie's hand into both of mine, I nod.
I'll be there.
I hadn't had a ride in June in months. I mean, it's January. June was 7 months ago. It's February. Or is like this point in the story? Oh yeah, this is still January, I think. I kiss her, reaching up slightly on my tiptoes to reach her.
I love you. We'll see each other later, right?
June, Pride Month.
Of course.
Hand in hand, we head towards the car where Caprice waves at us from the passenger seat. It'd be wrong to say everything is fine now. The two won't have more work ahead of themselves. More work to understand one another better. Millie is right, though. They have all the time in the world. There are many more days ahead of happiness and love to be shared. Many nights of tears and struggles. As friends, as sisters, as family. I know they'll make it through. All of us will face tomorrow in our own ways, at our own pace. Ooh, 2 weeks later. The setting sun casts long shadows as I head out of the sciences building, starting the long walk to the bike rack. The morning's frightfully cold chill is given way to a mild, cool afternoon, all the better for the ride home. The last few days have been chaotic in a way I thought I'd left behind once I'd finished my exams. Everything is out of my control, but oddly enough, it feels like that's for the best. Groups of students chat happily around me. Feels like a weight has been lifted off everyone's shoulders, with the end of college now in sight for those of us in our final semester. I wish I could say I feel sure of what's going to happen next, but I can't. Yet I'm a little more comfortable with that than I used to be. Where stepping out of education and into the real world once felt like an event horizon I couldn't see past, I now realize there's plenty of others going through just the same thing. In the parking lot, I spot the now familiar sight of Millie leaning against her car, checking her phone for one reason or another. I'd been giving Millie some space since she moved back in with Caprice and Haley, but it's good to see her again. I approach the wave as she puts her phone away, and she's quick to return the gesture.
Fancy seeing you here. Waiting for the others?
Caprice has got her club today, so just Haley.
It's only been a couple days, earning a snort of amusement from her. I'm just glad to see her smiling, no matter how small it may be.
Enjoying the quiet back at home again?
Tell me they miss Mr. Mo.
It's been fine, but I have to admit I miss my old roommate a bit.
I'm sure she'd be happy to visit. All you'd have to do is ask.
I was talking about Mo.
Yeah, they meant Mo. Let's go. Pouty face. Oh, Pouty Millie is so cute. She gives me a comically over-exaggerated pout, but quickly melts away as she leans in for a quick kiss. When she pulls away, she removes her glasses and produces a cleaning cloth from her coat pocket.
How's life back at the apartment, anyway? Been going okay?
Aw, that means Mr. Mo is back living with Mike and Charlie.
I wish I could say it was like I never left, but after so long, you definitely feel like a stranger in your own home sometimes.
She finishes wiping down her glasses, placing them back on. Cloth still in hand, she gestures for my glasses next.
Yours got fogged up too, don't even pretend otherwise.
Everything goes blurry. I hope they're giving him proper rations. Knowing Mike, probably not. Unable to think of a counter-argument in the 3 or so seconds she allows me, I hand them over without a word of protest.
We're going to be okay. Finally having everyone on the same page has done a lot, but we still have some lingering awkwardness to get through.
She finishes her cleaning, gently placing my glasses back on for me. First thing I see with my newfound clarity is her soft smile.
That's good to hear. I've been worried. I know it was your idea to dissolve it, but the club was a pretty recent wound, so...
I'm still in shock about what happened, really.
You and me both. I knew Darren cared, but I didn't expect him to take things to that extreme.
Millie fiddles with her braid, a gesture I've learned is something she does without thinking when she's stressed. She does have a few tells, as cunning as she is.
Worried?
About what?
You know, what he's taken on isn't an easy job, especially with the state of the riding club right now.
Maybe that's for the best. He's practically starting fresh, so it won't have the baggage it's had for years. He can make the club into what he thinks is best. After all, a club is nothing more than a group of people who share a common interest and like being around each other.
She shoots me a sly grin. All that making us promise not to talk, and then Caprice turns around and does it herself. He started without Heather, that's a good start. I sincerely hope he did.
Hey, sorry if this is weird or forward to say,
But
but I'm really happy to see things working out for you again. You deserve it.
The honest words hit home for her, pursing her lips tightly to steady herself as she silently nods.
I think she would have liked you.
Huh? Who?
Mom.
Mom.
What'd I say?
Yeah? What makes you think that?
A hunch.
She smiles a wide smile. And what a smile it is. It makes all my worries about the future disappear. I'm not sure exactly what lies ahead of me, but I know now that I'll have her beside me for whatever might come.
Do you want to ride home today?
I'd love to, but I've got a couple small errands to run. I wouldn't want you to ferry me around.
We should make some plans to get together for the weekend then. I haven't exactly been the most romantic the last few days.
You've been fine. Better than fine.
Eh. Goddamn, Olive is so smooth.
Just in love. I'm really quite awful, you know.
That's what I say.
Oh yeah, the worst.
Okay. She giggles and pulls me in for a parting kiss.
Well, every good story does need an antagonist, after all.
Ooh.
Oh, look at the lovebirds. They can't keep their hands off each other.
Oh my god, just right after saying, oh yeah, no, I always need an antagonist, and then Caprice slowly slides into frame. Gremlin spotted. Caprice bounces out of the entrance, making a kissy face and obnoxious wet noises to accompany it. Haley is following not far behind, smartly keeping her distance. Millie flowers into a scarlet blush.
What do you want, Caprice?
2 things. 1, to brag about how I am, once again, the ultimate matchmaker.
What? You had absolutely nothing to do with...
And 2, to ask you two where you think you're going.
Home was the plan, as soon as Haley showed up.
Haley doesn't react to her name in the slightest, to absolutely no one's surprise. Millie looks to me for confirmation.
A quick grocery run and then home for me too.
And how exactly do you expect the art club to function without its co-lead and her partner in crime?
Keska fuck? Millie looks just as puzzled as me. Clearly getting no answers there, I turn to Haley who shrugs.
Turns out I'm part of the art club, as of 10 minutes ago.
I appreciate the gesture, but I'm not much of an artist, I'm afraid.
It's a broad spectrum. Creative writing falls under the umbrella easy peasy.
Well,
Culinary arts.
She had that locked and loaded, huh?
She pulled the same thing on me, if it makes you feel better.
I figured it was something like that, yeah.
It's sweet of you, Caprice, really, but you don't have to...
Millie, if you're gonna let me into your family, then at least let me share mine with you too. Please?
Aww. And 3 of us look to Millie for her answer. She knows that I'll follow her, no matter what her decision may be.
Meet you there.
Yeah! You can't say no to her. Sure you can. Caprice looks like she's about to explode in excitement as her smile triples in size.
Okay, yes, take your time. Come on, Haley, we gotta let the others know.
Hold on,
Nyum. Before Haley can finish, Caprice runs off in a mad sprint. The heavy sigh, Haley turns to Millie, an out-of-character smile replacing her typical resting neutral face.
There's really no stopping her when she gets an idea in her head.
It's one of my favorite things about her.
Yeah, same.
Haley, you're taking forever!
Caprice shouts across the campus, jogging in place like she's training for a triathlon.
Better get going. See you in a few.
Yeah, see you soon.
And with that, she turns to follow her friend at the same slow pace she originally met us with. Haley is so me.
I'm not running, Grace.
Literally me, every time someone like runs off and I'm like, yeah, keep going, I'll see you there. I ain't running. We stand there for a while until both are out of sight, whether due to hesitation or simply trying to process the conversations that just happened is something only Millie really knows.
So, ready to go?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Oh. Graduation might be just around the corner, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. For now, it looks like another chapter in our lives is just starting.
The weather's warming fine.
Memories made.
Do you want to walk with me?
Is that Caprice's voice actor singing?
It's been a while since I've seen us really smile. I'm glad
I knew it.
to have you
Mr. Mo!
my greatest love, my bestest friend. The path we walked some time ago, tracing footsteps left in the snow. Someday soon we'll
She painted Mr. Mo!
with you here, we'll find our way. It'll take some time before we're home. Didn't wanna head back all alone. I'll take your worries if you'll
They're
take
so
mine.
cute.
Fold them in half along the line. It doesn't need to be today. Sometimes we need to step away. So fold the page and save your place. A pristine book is such a waste. Creases, tears, and rips and stains are signs of love and memories made.
Oh my god, Heather actually showed back up in the club.
Winter's dragged on forever. Let's make spring last
Datovu is
always
Olive, that tracks.
together. We've made it
Jill is Millie.
through embrace.
Oh, Lisa Raymold is Caprice, that explains it.
Brighter days. The cold is harsh, but I don't care. I'll take your worries with warmth to spare. We're almost there. We'll
Oh, they're
just
picking out the
fine.
dress.
Right over the horizon line. Let's try having fun today. Sometimes
Oh, they're trying spicy food, and
Millie's
Millie's just like, "Ah!"
canvas from last summer, beaten and torn, begging for color. Creases, tears, and rips and stains are signs of love and memories made.
Mr. Mo.
I may slow down, you'll march ahead.
There's another route. I was told that it's less like another route and more just the other side of the story. One pepper flake touches Millie's tongue. Guess I'm gonna die. That's me. Is that a megaphone, Caprice? Ooh, 2 months later. How's the wedding? Olive looks so fucking dapper. The myriad of colors presented by the flowers and trees mixed with the smell of freshly cut grass. It painted the picture of a perfect spring day, a world apart from the dreary winter that only recently made its long overdue exit.
Where could they be?
Olive shoved their phone back into their pocket for the third time in the past half hour. The four had agreed to meet early, but as the seconds continued to tick by, Olive was losing more and more confidence in that happening. Elsewhere, the sisters were still getting ready.
We're going to be late.
Haley shouted down the hall with only the muffled sounds of her roommates finishing their preparations answering her. In the dressing room, Caprice's foot tapped in hurried anticipation.
Is it almost done?
Millie continued to fiddle with her hair.
You're not exactly giving me a lot to work with here.
Millie sighed, letting another failed attempt fall from her hands. Caprice's last-minute request was a surprise, but one Millie was more than happy to honor. A simple braid in her hair, a small reminder of Adelaide to bring along to the wedding. The style Millie proudly wore for just over a year, and one she decided to wear today again as well. Caprice's hair, however, was not as eager to cooperate with the request, its length proving an impossible hurdle to overcome. Millie was all too aware of the time continuing to pass them by, and with a frustrated sigh admitted defeat. The original plan wasn't going to happen, but she was determined to do something, if only to justify all the time spent on it this morning. Oh, one of those... Oh, I see what she's doing. Yeah, like one of those, like, kind of tight, close to the head braids. One more time, this time much smaller in size, tied across her head rather than hanging loose. It wasn't what she wanted, but it was better than nothing.
What do you think?
Oh, in the face! Millie raised a small mirror in front of Caprice, half hoping she simply wouldn't answer.
It's perfect!
Caprice jumped to her feet and hugged her sister tightly, leaving Millie no time to process her response.
Really?
What do you mean, really? It's a nice small reminder, but it still feels like me.
Millie returned Caprice's hug, holding her close for all but a moment before setting her loose.
I'm ready to go if you are.
Millie returned her eyes to the mirror still in her hand, the large braid she had become so accustomed to tying every day taking up most of the view. Time was of the essence. They were already running late, and yet...
I need a few more minutes, if that's okay. Let Haley know I won't be long.
A few minutes passed, and a few more. All of it shifted from a mild annoyance to a deep concern. Why would they be taking this long? Did something happen? Did Millie lose her nerves? Surely if something bad had happened, Haley would have let them know by now.
Found you!
Aw, Haley's got a cute jacket to go with her dress. That's so good. A small pat in the back was enough for Olive to be jolted back to reality, and their heart jumped into their throat. Olive didn't need to turn around to place the voice, but after waiting for so long, they wanted the confirmation. Sure enough, Caprice was there to greet them, with Haley besides.
Yo.
Just roll up, fancy event. Sup?
Where were you? I was really starting to get worried.
Don't look at me. I've been waiting for a while.
Haley replied with a shrug. Olive turned to Caprice for an explanation, who responded with a sheepish grin.
Oh, you know how things go sometimes. The point is, we're all here now, right on time.
The timing Caprice boasted about was debatable, Olive thought. Actually, that wasn't the only thing.
If everyone's here, where's Millie?
The talk of the wedding had been more frequent from her these past few weeks. Olive hoped that meant she would show today, but they had also been preparing for the worst. Caprice's unwavering smile was early evidence that they had nothing to worry about. As if on cue, Millie emerged from the modest crowd, greeting Olive with a small hug.
Sorry, I was just putting some things away and locking the car up.
Her tone was flustered, and Olive knew her well enough to expect her to play with her braid as she tried to right herself afterwards. If it was still there, that is. While a braid remained in her hair, it was now just a small strand. The rest of her hair now freed to instead be tied in the back with a simple hair clip.
You look great.
As a smile found its way back to Olive's face, Millie averted her eyes as a blush started to form on hers.
You think so? I struggled a lot with the hair. I was thinking of wearing it like this from now on, actually.
It suits you perfectly. Don't change a thing.
Millie had her doubts. It may have suited her in this moment, but she'd come to realize change was an inevitable thing. After so long wearing the same style and feeling the same feelings, what would suit her best once this moment had passed and Millie had to focus on herself again? Something more comfortable, maybe. As the four finished their greetings and shuffled to find their seats, Millie played with her braid for the only time that day. Adelaide's presence in her life may be smaller than before, but it was still there, and that was enough. After endless cold and cloudy days, the start of a new chapter was penned underneath a pristine blue sky. Two women started the day as friends and ended it as sisters. Separate yet undeniably together, their stories were written on opposite sides of the same piece of paper. Finish Millie's epilogue. Oh. I've unlocked the following extras. Nothing. Spring UI theme. Scene select, CG gallery. Thank you for playing. We hope you'll consider joining the art club next. And guess what, chat? That's what we're doing next week. Caprice Route next week, right? Yeah, absolutely. I gotta see what it's like on all sides, but I love Millie so much, gang. That was really good. Women Wednesday. Caprice propaganda. Good, then I can torture you after. Why are you so mean to me? Excuse me, no. Yes, bad one. The Millie rose on the windowsill. Yeah, I love it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I need to go take a little bit to emotionally like decompress, but that was just so many happy feelings in Act 3 for Millie. Heather DLC when we find out why she's such a nasty bitch. You know, some people are just like that, and I think that we can leave them to their misery. I don't want to know why Heather is a bitch. I just know that she is, and I want to fucking give her a swirly and shove her in a locker. Seeing Millie finally heal after so long is a wonderful thing. Yeah. Thank you for the wonderful Women Wednesday. Thank you guys for being here. Yeah, as usual, a lot of feelings. So I don't feel right about rating anyone right now, but I think she has a pebble in her shoe. She's too lazy to take it out. If that's all it was and she was that big a bitch, she's definitely getting pushed in the locker. But yeah, I'm gonna go decompress, feel some feelings, and make some dinner. I hope y'all have a great rest of your night. I'll be back on Friday for more Friday Fantasy 14 with Tag.
But suppose you throw a coin enough
And
times.
until then,
Suppose one day
take care of yourselves, Steve.
it lands on its
Catch you
edge.
later.